has this place rocking. The Catlin Pep Band is here for the second straight year, and people around here say, you got to hear the Catlin Pep Band. We've heard them so far. We're going to talk with their director, Mr. William Jean, right now. It's kind of an honor to be down here, isn't it? How do you get down here in the first place?
Well, we have to submit a tape to the IHSA, and behind closed doors, they judge the tapes without names on them. And they select 8 bands out of whatever the field is if the tapes are submitted. This year it was 8 bands out of 73, I believe it was.
Do you try to be a little bit different than the other pep bands, a little more unique? Is that your style?
Yeah, we try going after more, the Catlin Pep Band tries going more after a rock and roll feel. We use drum sets. You'll find a lot of bands using just a regular concert band type of format without the drum sets, without the electronics. We use electronics, synthesizers, and drum sets to get a rock horn band kind of feel.
We're going to hear the pep band in just a couple of minutes. It looks like a democratic group. By that I mean it looks like somebody could get their idea across to you and you might consider it. How is the music played here during this particular day thought up? You're first. You're the idea behind that.
Well, the kids come to me with ideas of things that they've heard that they would like to play. If I can get a good melody out of it, a good harmony, I'll write it up for them. The whole book that these kids play is handwritten. So they can do anything they want to do, and we can do it before the publishers write the music for us to buy. So it's cheaper for us, and it's much more efficient, and we can play everything. It's their band, so they enjoy it a lot more, too.
You've been doing this for 7 years, dealing with teenagers. I remember far back when I was a teenager, something like this gets pretty hyper. You have to keep them down. Are you kind of like a coach out there, or are you just trying to get them as high as they go?
Well, you have to try to get the adrenaline moving, but in a positive way. It can get out of control. When we started today, they were really fired up. This is a big event for them. And with Catlin High School only being 240, it's really exciting. And they got sort of too fired up, and things can run away from them. So you have to let their emotion go, but at the same time, you have to plan where the limit's going to be.
Okay, Mr. William Jean, we're going to let you go down there and show us what you guys do. We appreciate having you here. Enjoy the rest of the day. Keep the place rocking.
Thank you very much. We will.
That's Mr. William Jean. We're going to listen to the Catlin Pep Band in just a second. Don't forget, coming up here in the semifinal game, it'll be Pinckneyville and Walther Lutheran to see who indeed plays Paint Up. Right now, the Catlin Pep Band.
The Catlin Wolverines, directed by William Jean. We'll be back at the Assembly Hall for Pinckneyville and Walther Lutheran next. Now let's take time out for this message on the IHSA network.
Here comes Blair City.
Welcome back to Assembly Hall. We are between semifinal games here, and joining me courtside is Dr. David Turner, the president of the IHSA board. You know, everywhere you go this year, you're hearing about Pack the Place. What was your first reaction to the concept of Pack the Place?
I liked it. I was excited about it when we first heard about it, and the more that we developed the concept and the people in the office worked with publicity and the schools got involved, I thought it turned out to be very successful, Jim.
And it's going to keep going. This is not a one-year shot.
Oh, absolutely not. This is something that we hope that some schools will certainly turn into long-time tradition. It's something that the office is going to work to promote year after year and try to make it grow and become bigger.
I know the term of the president of the IHSA board runs 3 years. You are in your final year. Your thoughts on the job itself?
Well, it's an exciting job. It's fun. You get to do a lot of interesting things. It adds another dimension to my job as a high school principal. It's a fun place to be. Sometimes it's a little hassle and a lot of work, but most of the time it's fun. I enjoy it.
And of course, you're the principal at Porta High School. Let's talk in the final minute that we have left here about something that's on the agenda now that you guys are looking at trying to implement into Illinois sports.
Well, I think one of the biggest changes that we're going to see for the coming year, a new bylaw was voted in by the principals of the association that allows Class A public schools to combine programs. For example, if two small schools didn't have enough students to have a football program, they can combine their enrollments and have a football program. Or if a school didn't have the facilities or enough students to have a golf program, they could combine with a larger school who has an existing program, and then their students would have the opportunity to participate in golf or really any sport. It works for all sports. Right now, the board and the staff of the Illinois High School Association are working to develop the guidelines, the interpretations of that bylaw, so that all the schools who are eligible to participate will know exactly what they can do and what rules to follow when they develop joint programs.
Dr. Turner, thanks for joining us. Enjoy the rest of the tournament. I know you have been. I've been sitting by you over there. You're going, ooh, this is great.
It's a good tournament. Thank you, Jim.
That's Dr. David Turner, the president of the IHSA board. We'll come back with more after this from one of your network sponsors. I had a number.
Is being sponsored by the country companies and their more than 900 agents throughout Illinois. You've got the country behind you. Case IH and your Case IH dealer. The Illinois Pork Producers Association. The 10,000 pork producers in Illinois encourage you to try the new lean, nutritious pork, the other white meat. The American Dairy Association of Illinois, your local dairy farmer, delivering to you their very best every day. And by the Illinois Beef Council. Beef, real food for real people.
Keith Peterson, the skipper of the Walther Lutheran Broncos. And Keith, I know you're delighted to be in this position.
Oh, yeah, we've looked forward to it. I think we started planning for it at the end of last year, and, you know, sometimes you make plans and everything just falls into place, and it was nice to see that happen this year.
This almost looks like a classic matchup with Pinckneyville between their finesse type of play and your power type play. Is that an oversimplification?
Well, I think you hit it right on the head. I think, you know, we're going to try and move the ball inside, and, you know, they look like they're primarily a perimeter team, and so it should be a good matchup.
Amaya has to have a day for you. Hill has to have a day for you, but it's the players that are not perhaps as much publicized that frequently win games of this sort.
Well, I think our other three starters complement those two so well that hopefully they'll play well and get the job done as well as, you know, those two guys got to play well for us too.
Pinckneyville played very well last night.
Boy, you know, I'm not sure anybody could have beat them last night. So, you know, but I think, you know, we play some changing defenses, and hopefully that can keep them off balance a little bit.
I was going to say, but you played very well yesterday as well.
Well, I think, you know, our speed and quickness was a factor last night, so, you know, and I think that Pinckneyville probably matches up a little bit better speed-wise with us.
Emotion is a factor, certainly, in high school athletics, but down here at the Assembly Hall, when you're this close, there's not a lot of firing up you have to do, is there?
If you do, there's something wrong. I think the kids are going to be ready to play, no matter, you know, just from the atmosphere that you play within here and everything, so it's a great experience for them.
Keith, the first ball game, of course, Payno winner. Did you get a chance to look at any of that?
I saw just a little bit, but Payno does a nice job.
It's going to be a good championship ball game regardless. Good luck to you, Keith.
Thanks, Art.
Keith Peterson, the skipper at Walther Lutheran up in Melrose Park, a guy who brought a club from an 0-24 mark a couple of years ago to the state semifinal. Let's pause for these messages.
Championship game in the Class A state championships. And, of course, the coach, Charles Strasburger, is with us right now. Opening minutes of the second half. Game was tied. Suddenly it clicked off 10 in a row. A lot of pressure, a lot of good things happened.
Yes, I knew at halftime, the first half, it went just the way we wanted it to go. And I knew that Tom Funham was going to start putting them down sooner or later. Mark was playing well and Gary was playing well. So when Tom started playing well, we had good inside play out of Mysick, Moss, and Bowman. So I knew it was going to break open sooner or later.
You know, Coach, I needed my calculator to count the offensive rebounds you guys are bringing down.
Yeah, Mysick was back in there playing his normal game now. And, you know, I thought they went to that offensive board extremely well today.
There was a lane violation with about 3 minutes to go, and St. Elmo's was closing in. Mark Heaton buried both free throws on his second attempt. That was a big one.
Yes, it was. It was a big one.
No preference tonight. I know we got to go to the game coach here. Coach, good luck tonight. We'll see you then.
Thank you very much.
Art, it's all yours.
Okay, Jim. Dick Corn, the skipper of the Pinckneyville Panthers, with us. Dick, right on the brink.
Well, of course, this is the ball game to get. Will put you in the place you want to be, and it's a big ball game for both basketball teams. It should be a great game.
I mentioned finesse against power to Keith Peterson of Walther Lutheran. He said that's probably a fairly accurate evaluation.
Well, they have a fine collection of athletes. There's no question about that. And it's going to be interesting to see if our basketball savvy can take some of that athletic skill away from them.
You played so well last night. Has that been rather typical of your recent outings?
Yes, we have been playing very well on recent outings, and it's one of our better efforts, but we've had 2 or 3 ball games in tournament play that was very similar to the one last night.
Well, if that's the case, you've had a very pleasant month of March, and certainly best wishes to you, Dick.
Well, we appreciate that, Art. Thank you.
Dick Corn, the skipper at Pinckneyville. We talked to both coaches. The stage is set, and now to Frank Massoni.
Thank you very much, Art, and we're getting ready for a battle between the North and the South. And these two teams in this game have an astonishing combined record, Coach Ed Butkovich, of 61 wins and 5 defeats. That's outstanding. We'll have a team, the Walther Lutheran Broncos from Melrose Park in Cook County. Of course, Pinckneyville from the south and Perry County. Pinckneyville goes into the game ranked number 1. Walther Lutheran ranked number 3 in the last poll that we saw. We're set to meet now the coaches and players in our game. Here's Steve Adams.
Introducing the coaches and players for this second semifinal round game, featuring the Panthers of Pinckneyville High School and the Broncos of Walther Lutheran High School of Melrose Park. First, let's meet Pinckneyville entering this game with a record of 31 wins and 2 losses. First, introducing the head coach of Pinckneyville in his 13th season, Dick Corn. Assistant coaches, Gary Glenzie, Wes Schote, and Greg Hale. And now the players. Number 4, a 5'10 sophomore, Chris McGranahan. Number 11, a 6'4 senior, Jimmy Bowersax. Number 21, a 5'11 sophomore, Mike Napier. Napier replaces the injured Kevin Bird on the Pinckneyville roster. Number 30, a 6'2 junior, Wayne Tedder. Number 31, a 6'1 senior, Nate Chapman. Number 34, a 6'2 junior, Aaron Kellerman. And number 45, a 6'2 junior, Troy Rushing. And now the starting lineup. At 1 forward, a 6'3 senior, 24, Aaron Eplin.
At 12 points in the quarterfinals, averages 10.
At the other forward, a 6'4 senior, number 32, Blake Lindner.
One of the better rebounders for the Panthers.
At center, a 6'5 senior, 33, Danny Harris.
Replaces Kevin Bird, had 16 points and 13 rebounds last night.
At one guard, a 6'3 senior, number 12, Shea Hagel.
Outstanding playmaker, averaging 11.
And at the other guard, a 6'3 senior, 22, Barry Grasowitz.
The All-Stater had 24 against Watsika.
Those are the Panthers of Pinckneyville High School. And now let's meet the Broncos of Walther Lutheran High School from Melrose Park, entering this game with a record of 30 wins and 3 losses. First, the head coach of the Broncos in his 5th season, Keith Peterson. Assistant coaches, Mike Abschus and Mark Korntoyer. And now the players. Number 10, a 5'10 senior, Randy Riley. Number 20, a 5'8 junior, Randy Melton. Number 22, a 6'3 junior, Vic Legner. Number 24, a 5'6 junior, Bob Kane. Number 34, a 6'3 senior, Melvin Johnson. Number 40, a 6'3 junior, Steve Belser. And number 54, a 6'6 junior, Andre Ingram. And now the starting lineup for Walther Lutheran. At one forward, a 6'3 junior, 32, Brian Hill.
All-state star averaging nearly 23 a game.
At the other forward, a 6'3 senior, 44, John Grohl.
Averaging 6 points a game, a good rebounder.
At center, a 6'5 junior, number 50, Andrew Amaya.
One of the great rebounders in the state, averaging 17 points.
At one guard, a 5'10 senior, number 12, Joe Johnson.
Who shoots 44% in three-point range.
And at the other guard, a 5'11 junior, number 30, Carl Henry.
Solid playmaker, averaging 6 points a game.
Those are the Broncos of Walther Lutheran High School. And now your officials, Dick Rokop of Aurora and Randy Cox of Bloomington.
We're all set for the showcase game coming up. Pinckneyville and Walther Lutheran. One of your network sponsors is Case IH. Back at the Assembly Hall, the Pinckneyville Panthers will wear the blue. They overpowered Watsika 83-64 to get here. The Broncos of Walther Lutheran whiplashed Lena Winslow 59-46 to get here. Neither were challenged and were set for a dandy. Coach Ed Butkovich, what are the keys to winning, first of all, for Pinckneyville?
I think for Pinckneyville, their bench scoring, like yesterday, was 23-3. They have to maintain it. Harris is going to start tonight. He has to have another outstanding game like he had. But I think the rebounding is going to be a key factor for Pinckneyville.
How about for the Broncos of Walther
I
Lutheran?
think they have to stay out of foul trouble, and I think two reserves, Kane and Riley, may be a key in this game.
All right, we're underway. Shea Hagel with the ball, but Grasowitz, the All-Stater, pulls the trigger.
Started like you did last night.
Pinckneyville, full court pressure against the quick Broncos. Joe Johnson splits it. Amaya fights for the rebound, and Johnson has it. 32 is Brian Hill, a great player, All-Stater for the Broncos. Carl Henry is 30. That's Hill, guarded by Hagel.
Hagel always seems to take the toughest player.
Henry. Back shot off the board. He's strong, 190-pounder.
Played well yesterday.
This team's born to press, and they turn it on to start with. Now Grasowitz, 22, 6'3 senior, averages 15 a game.
Looks like a 1-3-1 draw for Walther Lutheran.
Ball faked by Eplin, the shot. Around and out. Eplin's got it back. In. Rebound, Brian Hill. 3-2, Pinckneyville. The three-point shot against the deuce. Goal is inside. Knocked away by the Panthers. Both teams like the tempo up. Eplin comes out. Danny Harris is in the middle. Kevin Bird, the starting center, has an injured hamstring and is not dressed. He's questionable for tonight. Grasowitz on a spin. He's free. And he's fouled.
That time Walther Lutheran comes down in a man-to-man defense. Coach said before the ball game there'll be change in defense.
Barry Grasowitz, in the act of shooting, goes to the line. Fouls on Joe Johnson. Classic foul shooter.
Good foul drill, like yesterday. First 4 points of the ball game.
Both these teams have been highly rated all year, expected to be here. Here is the semifinal. Pinckneyville by 3 and pressing. Henry comes to help. Joe Johnson plays outside. Amaya is number 50 on the block low. Henry goes all the way. Tip out rebound. Brian Hill picks it off and fires a 3. Rebound Blake Linder. Pinckneyville in transition. Hill swipes it. out of bounds and goes.
You asked earlier what a key was. I think Hill is going to have to shoot a little bit better today than he did yesterday. He got by with athletic talent yesterday, but he didn't really shoot extremely well. But he can.
He's a 45% shooter from 3, 50 from 2. He can. Eplin on the right. Hagel. Long rebound to the running Joe Johnson. Here come the Broncos on the fly. Johnson, a bad shot. Rebound. Pinckneyville. Eplin ahead. Linder. Blake Linder knocks it in. It's 7-2, the Panthers. Coach Peterson about Pinckneyville, he said, we can stop 1 or 2 people. I don't know about 5. Brian Hill, 3.
That's why he shot 45% from 3. He can turn it on.
He considered transferring to St. Joe's after his freshman year. The shot is not good. He said, I thought I'd stay here and help make something happen. And here he comes making it happen. Brian Hill.
He made it happen again.
A fast 5 for Brian Hill, and the game is tied. Hagel goes by his man on the left. Amaya. He might have hurt himself. Andrew Amaya, 6'5", junior, went and got that. And then he was...
He went up after and he fell down. Closest official didn't call it, though.
4:50 to play, opening period. Grasowitz nails it. A three-pointer for Barry Grasowitz again. It's 10-7 the Panthers. Grohl tries to answer. Went for Amaya out of bounds.
How many kids do you think in the state of Illinois always eyes got bigger throughout the country when that three-pointer came in this year?
It looked like he threw it off the roof. Linder fakes.
Nice fake.
Hagel on the move. Didn't go. Harris rebounds for 2. 6'5", Danny Harris. And again, the Panthers have a 5-point lead.
They're starting out like he did yesterday. Pinckneyville still in that man-to-man.
Henry looks inside. Hill busts out. Hangs and shoots.
May have been a travel before he ever got that shot off, but it wasn't called.
He's got 7, the 6'3" senior. Linder's free. Goes, oh, Hagel to Harris.
Beautiful.
Sweet passing. And the savvy of Pinckneyville pays off.
So far, Pinckneyville's like that press that the Broncos have been in.
Now the Broncos slow it down a bit. Joe Johnson, right corner. Hill outside 3. Yes. He's got 10 fast points. With 3:40 to play in the first, Pinckneyville now by 2.
Don't go to the refrigerator because you may miss it.
Melvin Johnson is in. 6'3" senior. Replaces John Grohl. And the teams are off and running.
Melvin does a good job on the board.
He weighs 215. Harris at the high post. Eplin. Harris has got it in the corner. Eplin didn't pull the trigger on the 3. Steps into Harris. Short. There's Amaya. He averages better than 11 rebounds a game. Joe Johnson goes to the baseline. Melvin Johnson up and down and home.
Harris didn't block him out on that one. He had the opportunity to steal him, and he didn't do it.
Grasowitz with the ball, trying to take the lead back for the Panthers. Harris is free. Nice pass, and Danny Harris has 6.
Good pass by Eplin there.
He had 16 yesterday and 10 in the Super. He can score. Pinckneyville plays man-to-man. Johnson on a pop outside. Henry's got it. They reset the offense. They look for Hill.
No, Harris was a starter part of the year this year when one of their players got hurt. I think it was Hagel got hurt. And then Harris come in and replaced him for a few games.
Kevin Bird is 6'3", and he's injured with a hamstring. And we got a foul on Pinckneyville. It's on Aaron Eplin.
Frank, is he out for the whole tournament, or do you know right now?
Well, all they told us was that he's out for this game and questionable for tonight as Keith Peterson looks on.
It'll be a tough break for Pinckneyville.
Ryan Hill rolled it in, walking away. He was the sophomore starter on the team that went 0-24. 2 years later, they've got 30 victories. Hill again. The game is tied at the 2:24 mark, and what everybody thought would be a sizzler is. We'll be back. One of your network sponsors, the Illinois Pork Producers. Take a look at the ball handling here, Coach, and the passing.
Hagel made a nice pass there. Nice pass back. Oh, great save.
Harris got it down, and okay, back to live action. The game is tied 16, 2:17 to go. Opening period. Grasowitz, three. A brilliant shooter, the third three-pointer for Pinckneyville. Grasowitz with 9. 46% shooting for Walther Lutheran. A little better than 40% Pinckneyville early. Amaya shot. A skying attempt at the rebound by Hill. Out of bounds to the Panthers.
You see Hill go after that ball?
Hill came flying through the air and went down. He looks like he could have hurt himself. Now he's still in the game. Take a look at that. There's Hill.
Uh-oh.
He fell on the ball.
Going to be talking to a different tone of voice for a while.
1:52 to go. Pinckneyville with the ball in the lead by 3. Blake Linder out of the right corner.
That 5-point lead is changing back and forth. Pretty soon they'll get it tied up again. Pinckneyville's had a 5-point lead. I think it's the third time.
In the first quarter, Pinckneyville's already racked up 21. And the Broncos try to answer. Melvin Johnson swings it up and is fouled. Melvin Johnson's got some size at 2:15. Amaya goes 2:10. Foul goes on Linder, and for Pinckneyville, 31, Nathan Chapman, 6'1" senior, comes into the game for the first time. Brian Hill hops out of the pack for the Broncos. His shot is no. Melvin Johnson battles. Henry got it. Pinckneyville by 3. Clock moves to 1:15 in the first.
1-3-1 half-court trap here.
Trap they do. Eplin is open.
Pinckneyville answered with it.
They're so calm. There's a violation coming in.
Violation on the inline.
And the Panthers get the ball back. Dick Korn says that Pinckneyville's savvy against the athletic skill of the Broncos.
Grasowitz eyeing that three-pointer.
Barry Grasowitz at the 1-minute mark. Walther Lutheran must call timeout. Grasowitz is firing. 59 seconds. We'll be back in a moment. One of your network sponsors is Country Company. Take a look at that violation as they take the ball out of bounds, Coach. Threw it back in bounds, never got out, really.
What it looks like.
Here's 4 for 4 for Barry Grasowitz from three-point range. And he's the reason Pinckneyville has got a 26-point mark. There was still a minute to go in the first quarter. Pinckneyville, 26, Walther Lutheran, 18. And the Broncos called timeout. Now they'll run a set play. They look inside to Amaya, and he's fouled.
Is that 2 on Grasowitz? I don't know.
It's on Grasowitz. The 2-shot foul. Grasowitz's first personal.
This one.
We'll take a look at a 6'5", 16-year-old junior, weighs 210, Andrew Amaya. He missed the free throw. He shoots 66% from the field, but only 57 there.
Now look how far he brings the ball back over his head. The first one I didn't like. Now he may do it a little bit different this time. He brings it back and it's to the right-hand side, and that's not very good.
He missed them both. And Pinckneyville, Shea Hagel checks with Dick Korn. He says, you want to go for one? The answer was yes. Pinckneyville shows good ball handling skills. They dismissed a good Watsika team last night with a great performance.
Yes, they did. Walther Lutheran's in a little man-to-man, and he went to a little trap there.
Under 20 seconds. There's a near steal by Hill, and Chapman gets it back. Chapman threw it away.
Oh, no.
With 14 seconds, the first turnover by Pinckneyville.
Chapman made a move down the lane, and the guy was going to the bucket, and he thought he was going to stay in the corner, and he didn't. That'll be a big thing right here for Walther to get that score if they can.
Option number one is Brian Hill. Three-point shot on the way. Boom! With three, with two, Pinckneyville throws it up. And that's the end of the first quarter at the Assembly Hall. Brian Hill's 13th point has Walther Lutheran within 5. Now let's pause for these messages. Change of the high school players in that first quarter. We saw some three-point shooting, but none further out than this one.
Oh, the guy was right on him, too.
Like a rocket. He launched it probably in the 23-foot range, and Hill has a 15-point quarter.
The fact that Pinckneyville didn't get that 10-point lead right there, they enter maintain the 8, down to 5, and if they get a score right here.
The Broncos are back with Henry shooting. Amaya rebounds and shoots. Shea Hagel's got it. Panthers in transition. Hagel all the way.
Good move. Good body balance.
He knew what he wanted to do. And now Henry, who started as a freshman, is a junior, and he's won a varsity letter in track.
I said Hagel was out with an injury earlier in the year. Went back real well. Should have taken a charge there.
Hill missed everything. Amaya fights for it, and it's out of bounds. So the Broncos.
When that offensive player leaves his feet like that going into that shot, if somebody else step in, as long as they don't undercut him. Another set.
There was a whistle immediately. Hill stepped out of bounds in the corner.
Can you believe that? 4 guys over in that far corner. Like I said, he shows you a different out of bounds every time he has the ball out of bounds under the basket. They've got a lot of sets. I've got a lot of respect for Coach Peterson.
He lined 4 along the baseline, and Hill was designed to fire a 3. Grasowitz is at the 3-point line. Checking it, Blake Linder. And Pinckneyville leads by 9. Henry shoots. Nice rebound, Grasowitz. To the running Eplin. Hagel on a pop. And Walther Lutheran has seen enough. Pinckneyville is on a roll. They lead 32-21.
Another good timeout.
One of your network sponsors, the American Dairy Association of Illinois. .6:48 to go in the first half of play in the semifinal game as Pinckneyville is in the lead. Pana won earlier over St. Elmo, 61-51. Coach?
I made a comment yesterday that Pinckneyville sent a message after they see those three-pointers got off by the other team. And after Hill hit that three-pointer in the quarter, he come back and they just go right at it again.
Bob Kane, 24 in the game for the Broncos.
I said yesterday I really like Kane. I thought he did an excellent job when he came in yesterday, and he'd be a starter for many, many ball clubs in the state of Illinois.
He's 5'6" and a junior. Inside Amaya, got free. He missed, but he was fouled.
He's moved Hill now to a forward slot with Kane out there, and that would indicate, I would think, that Keith Peterson really is going to push the inside game.
When your big guys get that shot inside like that, they've got to put down that three-point effort. They've got to get that bucket in there. They're going to put him at 15 feet. If he shoots like he did the last couple times, there's going to be 2 brickbats up there. But that was not a brickbat.
He switched it. I don't think you're in love with his form.
No, I'm not. I hope the kids don't copy that style. But if they go in, if he shot enough of them, if he's had enough practicing, he's got the faith in it, then who's to say?
He shot. That one no good.
That was a ringer.
He's tried 1 3-pointer this year and hit it. All right, 6:28 to go. First half. Pinckneyville by 10. Grasowitz. Does he ever miss?
When he went up for that shot, he was still looking for people to pass to. Didn't have anybody, so he kept it up there.
6 for 6 for Grasowitz shooting. Brian Hill's inside. Posts up and scores.
Good move.
I see the versatility of Hill. He shoots outside, he goes into the post.
Are the All-Staters putting on a show, or are they putting on a show?
Court man-to-man here by now, Walter.
Eplin, hawked by Hill. Now Grasowitz. He's got the transition. He moves to the right and missed. Eplin rebounded it, taken away by Henry. Who's got it? Foul on Johnson of the Broncos.
If they don't get that foul, there's going to be a layup at either end. Some quickness out there. Coach looks a little disappointed right there.
Coach Keith Peterson was asked about the pressure of this game as you look at the replay. And there's the foul. And he says, pressure? And he said, I'll tell you what pressure is. 2 years ago, we were 0-24. That is pressure.
That is pressure. It's amazing these kids have recovered from that. Play with a lot of confidence.
Eplin is open.
And that fellow there plays with a lot of confidence, too.
6'3" senior Aaron Eplin has 4. Pinckneyville by a dozen with the ball.
They're going to have to get under control. Their ball game is going to get out of hand just like it did in that last game last night. Now, right before they put on a streak here of Pinckneyville and took that 15-point lead at halftime last night.
The Panthers frustrate you. Inside Linder, got it down, it counts. Blake Linder set the post, got the ball, and it's the clinic.
The time before. Just about a minute ago, Grasowitz hit a bucket. Now he plays Peter. Goes inside, he gets an assist. He likes those.
5:23 to go, first half. And Linder completes the three-point play. 39-24. The Panthers rated number 1.
15-point lead.
Now the Broncos have to chip away. Johnson goes inside to Hill. He can do it. Not this time. Danny Harris, remember, starting center Kevin Bird, not dressed for this game for the Panthers. Hamstring. Grasowitz, yes. I think the Broncos have to stop it again.
Let me ask you a question. Are the Panthers playing on their home floor?
It may as well be. It's a great performance so far. We'll be right back. One of your network sponsors, Case IH. Watch the touch here. Grasowitz touch
right
like
up,
a fade tracker. Up.
You know, I had a question. I better ask Vic Gorn. Somebody better ask. Maybe he snuck in there and did some extra shooting here a couple weeks ago.
Walther Lutheran has only one timeout left and there's 4:55 to play. 4:52 in the first half. Trying to keep his team in this game. Foul on Pinckneyville. Well, the Broncos have some weapons.
I think they're on a bonus right now.
I think it's amazing Pinckneyville playing without their starting center. You think they would show some effect in that.
Well, their shooting percentage at the halftime is going to be
mind-boggling.
It'll Brian Hill. Nice rotation, got it down.
Good touch.
He can ring them up in a hurry. He's 102 out of 227 from 3. 45%. Got another.
There's not many teams in the state of Illinois, probably percentage-wise, that shot over 100 or made that. You know, one player got it with a three-point range.
Kane pressures in the backcourt. Pinckneyville seems immune as Hagel shoots. Harris rebounds, steps in the paint, blocked by Amaya. And I think they have a foul on Hill. See if we can see the foul was called. Pinckneyville hasn't missed at the free throw line. They go back there. They're 3 of 3.
Very, very close on that.
Now they're 3 of 4.
According to the replay, it didn't quite look like he got him. But the way it comes out, it's in the book.
Harris takes it 42-26, the Panthers. Very early in the game to have 42 points. Johnson goes to the baseline. Stop there. Kane is outside. Hill. Brian Hill keeps firing him down.
One-man show right now.
He's got 21 points already. Look at people looking through the record books. This pace continues.
Nice pass.
Harris head fake and shot. He was off balance. And the rebound to little Bob Payne. Henry looks inside. They seal off Amaya with the defense. Pinckneyville.
They're going to look for Hill or Amaya right here. Maybe a little lob over the top. Nope.
You see their
Double
defense.
screen in the corner.
Here comes Hill for three. At 24, and Dick Horn says, how do you stop him?
I think he's responding to pressure, isn't he?
Shea Hagel with the ball. Adjust in the air to Harris. Control. Heflin. Amaya spears the rebound.
Going to be a timeout here in just a minute for Pinckneyville, I think.
3.5 in the second quarter. Can Hill do it again?
Goes.
Not this time. Hill's been on fire. Grasowitz, high dribble to the foul line. Yes!
Grasowitz says, let me respond to this. Coach, you may not need a timeout. I'll take care of it.
That's 20 for Grasowitz. What an exhibition he's shooting by a couple All-Staters here.
We got 3 minutes to go and a half.
And Pinckneyville leads by 13. Make it 11. As Henry goes in.
Frank, for your information, the single-game state tournament record, still 55 by Jim Edmondson of Hinkley Big Rock into the Cow Super Sectional in 84.
Linder tipped it in.
That ball had eyes.
Grasowitz missed, but Linder tipped it home. 9 for Linder. Well, you forget about how much balance, what defense, rebounding this Pinckneyville team has. And Hill streaking to the basket, fouled by Linder.
The last 2 opportunities down, Pinckneyville could have taken the charge on drives to the bucket. They haven't. If I take one out, we're going to take one of those guys out of the ball game. Guarantee you.
Dick Corn yelling to get Danny Harris' attention there. Brian Hill, 6'3", 190-pounder. Now he'll shoot.
Guess you got to miss one once in a while, don't you? Show that you are human.
At 25 if he makes this free throw. 25 if he makes this one. He's on his way to 55, isn't he?
That one's down. The 12-point Panther lead. The pressure put on by the Broncos. Hagel rolls into the front. Grasowitz exchanges with Linder. Linder steps in with the left hand. I think we have a foul. That's what it is.
Number 3 on Blake Linder.
And Dick Horn wants to stop the action. 2:15 to go in the second quarter. Pinckneyville still in the lead. One of your network sponsors, Illinois Pork Producers. We're in our second semifinal, and the Assembly Hall in Champaign-Urbana. Frank Cassoni and Art Kimball, along with Coach Ed Butkovich. And we're seeing an old-fashioned shootout here as Pinckneyville leads Walther Lutheran.
Frank, Jay Scheidler holds the all-games record in the state tournament with a total of 157 points back in 76. Just for your information, Brian Hill has 70 now with half of this game to go and a game tonight. So he may at least flirt with it.
He's a great offensive player. This is Joe Johnson. Gets Walther within 11.
Make sure it's right before we break. Straight on your leg.
About 2 minutes ago, they were down 17. Just chipping away at it.
Well, they have great quickness, and their pressure game can produce some points. They've got another one from Joe Johnson, and Amaya hasn't really been involved in the offense much. Hagel on the open court.
Got to get.
Hagel dishes to Harris, who steps inside. Missed it. Follow shot is good. Jimmy Bowersacks just in for Pinckneyville.
Somebody always picks him up.
And he's 6'4" and 170. Pinckneyville's got about 6 guys that are 6'4", 170. Johnson, 3.
This has been quite a turnaround right now.
It's a 9-point game for the Panthers. And Grasowitz slows it down. Henry works on defense. Grasowitz is tough to handle. Hagel on a stop and pop. Pinckneyville at 50. Minute and a half, 6 points for Hagel. Brian Hill, 3. Amaya inside.
Harris had the rebound, couldn't control it. He thought he was fouled.
First field goal for Amaya in the ballgame.
That's a big part of the Broncos game. Outside with Hill, inside with Amaya. Pinckneyville by 9. Gressowitz. Look at the rebound by Hill. And he stepped out of bounds.
See what Pinckneyville does. A minute to go. Last time they went to Grasswood. And a three-pointer.
Along the baseline, Eplin. Nice rebound, Hill again. This time, Grassowitz fouled him. And you can feel the momentum going back toward the Broncos.
The swing.
Keith Peterson from Concordia.
2 on Grasswood.
Grasswood picks up his second. The victory yesterday gave Peterson a record of 67 and 67 at Walther. Brian Hill again.
He would love to hit 70 this year, wouldn't he?
Oh,
Or 69.
69 would be it. 6 of 7 for Hill.
26 points for Hill.
The Broncos are within 7. They've cut 10 points off Pinckneyville's lead. And Kane, 24. Bob Kane, K-O-E-H-N-E, in for Henry.
See, I've been seeing a three-point play so much I've been counting threes. There's that turnover.
And Kane got it just right in the game for that purpose and has the ball. Now Walther Lutheran tries to get back even closer. It's Hill for 3. Can't hit. Rebound on Maya, pushed off.
That's right. Good call.
Andrew Amaya pushed off on the rebound. There it is.
He got his hands on him. Just enough to throw him off balance.
You can be a whale of a rebounder with that move, can't you? Clear him out.
Aaron Eplin. Hit 12 yesterday. Hits this one.
The way things have been going, he needed that one right there.
80%er. He has 6. The Panthers by 9.
Looks like they're over 1.
Broncos.
That one may be a three-point attempt, too.
More than likely, Brian Hill will load it up. Pinckneyville's roared off 52 points, but hasn't been able to shake the Broncos of Walther Lutheran. From the private school league out of Melrose Park. There's your clock.
We also got Johnson can hit one there now.
And Randy Riley in. Kane Isaac. A steal. It's Grassowitz with 6 seconds. Grassowitz hit it.
Oh, I don't know if it's going to count or not.
Foul on Riley.
It may not count it, though.
No indication yet. No goal.
Probably got it in the college game.
Definitely got it in the NBA.
Yeah, he was up in the air from the replay anyway.
Barry Grassowitz nails the free throw. He seems unperturbed.
Well, he says if I can't get a three-point play, I'll just get 2 free throws.
He's got 21. We were talking about Hill.
23 on the board there.
His high this year is 37.
23, I correctly thought.
Here he comes again, missed that. Hill with 4, with 3. He's going to fire from half court. At the end.
Just a little high on the boards. That looked like that was the center.
A 96-point first half of play. And we'll take a break with Pinckneyville in the lead. One of your network sponsors is Country Companies. On a pace that is 100 points. The Class A semifinal. As Pinckneyville leads Walther Lutheran at halftime by 10. And Coach, you can't ask for a better performance at any level of high school basketball that we saw in that half.
It's been a great first half, and the horse fans out there, the horse racing fans, would love this ball game the way they're going up and down the floor.
All you need is a baton, and it's a track meet in between. What great skills these guys are showing. Pinckneyville with the balance. They have the scoring and defense. How do you stop them?
Well, I don't know. Walther Lutheran did a pretty good job here. You know, they turned a 17 ball game down to 7 points, and then Pinckneyville got the last 3 on free throws. But, you know, if they can keep the pace that they're going right now, maybe Pinckneyville's bench might not be as balanced. Well, it is balanced, don't get me wrong. But, I mean, they may wear down just a little bit with the pace this game's going at. It looks like Walther Lutheran wants to keep it going that way. But I think Pinckneyville gets down there in the second half, gets settled down a little bit. They get a couple of buckets to drop for them again. I think they're going to maintain it. I don't know if they're going to maintain the lead, but I think we're going to see an outstanding and a great ball game in the second half.
And reminder to the fans that are watching, Kevin Bird, the starting center for Pinckneyville, is out of this game entirely with a hamstring pull, and that cuts into that depth a little bit, too.
Well, that cuts into that, but you got to realize, though, if Amaya starts to play ball the second half and keeps and continues hitting the boards and gets some offensive rebounds, Pinckneyville could be in a little bit of trouble.
It's still anybody's ball game, and right now let's go to the court where Jim Albrecht has a guest.
Thank you very much, Frank. Everybody at the hall buzzing about how many points have gone up here in the first half. Individually, Brian Hill has scored 27. The tournament record as far as Sweet 16 individual scoring is 55, set back in 1984 by Jim Edmondson of Hinckley Big Rock. The parents of the man who might break that individual record, and I'm sure they're not concerned about that, they want the win. Mr. and Mrs. Donald Hill, the parents of Brian Hill, are with us right now. How's your stomach, Mrs. Hill?
Quivering.
Now, 2 years ago, I want to ask your husband this. 2 years ago, Walther Lutheran went through a basketball nightmare. They didn't win a game, lost a lot of games in the last couple of minutes. Brian was part of that team. What was his attitude back then? Did you guys have to keep him up?
Yeah, we had some tough times with it. It was time for everybody. It was rough. Every game you go to, you're waiting for them to win. It never happened. They keep going back. They kept going back for the next game, and they thought it was going to come the next time, so they kept trying.
It's obvious when you look at Brian Hill that he has been blessed with natural skills, but it's also just as obvious that he works on them. How hard of a worker is he?
Very hard worker. Constantly working all the time, watching the game and tapes all the time at home.
You don't make him go out and shoot free throws in the dark or anything, do you?
No. We don't do that.
Where does he get all this talent from? Mr. Hill?
His father.
And you played basketball where, sir?
I played for Wright City College in the Chicago area.
Did you teach him moves when he was 6, 7, 8 years old? Did he have a basketball in his hand all the time?
Brian was sort of self-motivated. He got out and started by himself with his big brother, and then later on, when he was 11 or something like that, I started working with him. But he was self-motivated. He has natural talent, I think.
Do you guys talk over the game after it's over? Does Brian come home and chat about it, or is he one of these, hey, it's done and we'll go on to tomorrow?
He talks about it with his brother and I, because I don't know a whole lot, so he talks with his father constantly.
Now, the phone has been ringing at your house for a couple of years. On the other end are recruiters. He has not decided where to go yet. How are you guys guiding him as far as that's concerned? Because when you're 17 and 18 years old, that decision is awful hard.
It's very hard. What we tried to do with Brian was have him wait until the season was over. And they had two objectives. One was to go undefeated in conference. One was to come down state. They made the second one. So he's been trying to keep his mind off the recruiters. We've talked to some people, and he's going to make visits. We talked to a few people. I won't try and go into names, but we're going to make visits after the season's over. He's just concentrating on the season.
Folks, I want to thank you for coming down here. Go back up there. We'll wish you well in the second half, and congratulations on a fine basketball player and a son.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
That's Mr. and Mrs. Donald Hill. We'll come back with more from Assembly Hall after these messages. Thank you, folks.
Thank you.
When you look at the scoreboard here at the Assembly Hall, right now there are 96 points. They've gone up in 16 minutes, and the man who's put every point up there is Mr. Ted Beach, the official scorer timer here. He runs the scoreboard not only for the state tournament, but also for all Fighting Illini games. You got a quick finger, man.
Oh, really, Jim? Well, you have to be this game. They're really going up and down the floor, aren't they?
How long you been doing this, and what's your best recollection and your worst?
Well, I don't know. I've been here 22 years at the U of I games and the state tournaments, and I don't know, there's just been a lot of thrills and a lot of good ball games, a lot of good players come through here. I don't have any really outstanding one that I remember or like to forget, either one.
If I had your job, I'd have this nightmare about once every month that a coach would come up and say, you didn't give me a point. Has that ever happened?
Well, if you miss one, Jim, well, the crowd's going to let you know about it, and the coaches too, so it's the scorebook that has to be right.
Now, this is a family affair because when the Huff Gymnasium was the place where the state tournaments were played, your father, I understand, did the same job that you do now.
That's right. He did it, I think, for about close to 30 years, and then he passed away in '66, and I stepped right into his chair, and I've been doing it ever since.
And your favorite topic in school had to be math, right?
Had to be what, Jim?
Math? Mathematics?
No, not really. I was a physical ed major. Going to be a coach, and I got smart.
Okay,
yeah.
Ted, we'll let your fingers go back to the board. They're about ready to put them up again.
Thank you. Good to be with you.
That is Ted Beach. Let's go now to Frank Bassoni. Frank?
Thank you very much, Jim. We have two players in this game that have 50 points at halftime between them. For Walther Lutheran's Broncos, Brian Hill has drilled 27 and Grasowitz 23. Let's take a look at the teams. Field goal shooting, the Broncos 14 of 35, 40%. Pinckneyville 21 of 40, 53%. 5 3-pointers for the Broncos and 4 for the Panthers. Free throwing 10 of 14 for the Bronx, 71, 7 of 9 for the Panthers. Rebound advantage to Walther Lutheran. And turnovers, Pinckneyville, a very clean game with only 2 turnovers.
It should be a big factor in the second half.
And there we mentioned the leaders, Grasowitz with 23 and Linder with 9 for Lutheran. Brian Hill on that great pace with 27 points in the first half. And we'll take a look at this fabulous youngster. Look at the form.
Oh, yeah, goes right up. People on him. Watch, his eyes are still on the basket. Look at that.
Take a look at his counterpart, 6'3", Barry Grasowitz.
Great follow through.
And we're getting set now for the start of the second half. One of your network sponsors is the American Dairy Association of Illinois. Second half just underway. Pinckneyville with the ball. Shea Hagel shoots. And Brian Hill rebounds. Pinckneyville leads by 10, but the Broncos have had some momentum in the late part of the second quarter. Henry gets it inside to Melvin Johnson. Long rebound, Danny Harris, but Amaya nearly got it, and a foul. Keith Peterson, the coach of the Broncos, changed clothes at halftime.
Looks like a rally suit. Didn't they keep up the pace this half?
Well, the green and white, he's going to be ready. He probably got the track shoes on, too.
He may have.
There's your score. The Panthers. Hagel's going to go all the way with the left hand.
Nice move. But he didn't drop it down.
He couldn't hit.
They missed the first 2 shots.
The Broncos push it up. Brian Hill floats in.
Oh, they had it and got away from him.
Henry kicks it out. Who will score the first hoop of the second half? Brian Hill tries. And the Panthers come back. Eplin. A lot of anticipation about this game. Harris tips at it. Grasowitz is in.
Again.
He's up to 25. The Broncos try for their first score. Hill goes inside to Amaya. He was quiet offensively the first half. Got that down.
Good move. He laid it on the floor and took it to the bucket.
Look at Grasowitz open. Pulls up, fakes and goes. He's got it back.
Danny Harris hit with eyes. Harris is all over this place.
And the Panthers do the work on the offensive boards and lead by a dozen. Brian Hill wheels in. Pass goes over Melvin Johnson's head. Johnson starting the second half in place of John Grohl.
Made a nice move on the drive. I think the ball is just a little bit thrown too hard.
Assembly Hall stays buzzing.
Oh, look at that left-handed
Blake Linder. That's 11 for Linder. These teams get on rolls and they run up 5, 7, 10 points quick. Joe Johnson's in the right corner. Hill way outside of 3.
Short.
He's got it back. Here comes 3 more. Hill misfires. Pinckneyville by 14 with the ball.
Pinckneyville just blow it up just a little bit. Get a little breather here.
Hill, look at that. Anticipation. And now he's flying the other way for two.
Got a good roll.
The quickness allows the Broncos the opportunity to get back in anything because they shut down passing lanes. Man-to-man. Eflin goes around Hill. Hangs and shoots. Long rebound to the running Joe Johnson. Waits for the trailer. This Henry's a solid player.
Yes, he is.
Amaya in the low box. He's got it up and in. Amaya with 7. And Walther needs him. They're back by 10.
Been a game of spurts.
Shea Hagel comes to the front. Grasowitz wing left. Skip pass over the zone. Eflin for the pop.
There's a foul. Shot's going to count. And they're going to get the ball back.
Foul is on Carl Henry. It's a big play for the Panthers. There's Dick Horn. Monmouth graduate, 1972. And there's Keith Peterson out of Concordia, and he's got the green and white.
I don't think he liked the last call.
I don't think I've ever seen a high school coach do that down here.
Nice screen.
Eflin is open. But you hear the rebound by Hill. Stolen by Grasowitz for the easy 2.
It looked like it hit the other kid's foot as he went by Amaya on the dribble. Unfortunate for them.
27 for Grasowitz. He's caught Hill. Amaya answers. It's a 12-point Pinckneyville lead. There's 4 minutes to go in the third quarter. Is this some show?
Whatever Coach said to Amaya at halftime, I think he responded.
Hagel at 6'3" is open.
And Pinckneyville has responded.
What a shooting exhibition. Hill behind the back. He fires a 3.
Long bad shot. Kind of rushed it.
Grasowitz, stutter step into the front. Has the ball stripped away and foul on Brian Hill. And the Pinckneyville fans love it.
3 on Hill. Had a lot of time in the third quarter, Hill. Said earlier, those two fellas had to stay out of foul trouble. Hill and Amaya.
Pinckneyville has racked up 65 points already. 61 for the Broncos. Grasowitz for 3. Nice rebound by Melvin Johnson. Joe Johnson gets on the scoot, hangs in the air and missed it. Rebound and score by Amaya. The Broncos won't go away. Pinckneyville has Eflin try a 3.
Putting the shots up a little bit quick right now. Like they had to be a little bit more patient.
Amaya much more involved in the game this half than the first one. And there he is again, double teamed and fouled. That's got to have been a halftime strategy.
Beg pardon?
I say that's got to have been a halftime strategy to go into Amaya.
Had to get it in. Trying to get him in foul trouble.
4th foul on Linder, I believe. Indeed, 4th foul on Linder.
6'4" Blake Linder gets his 4th foul with 2:45, and there's timeout on the court. Stay with us. Now let's take timeout for this message on the IHSA network. The Broncos know that Andrew Amaya, who had 3 points the first half, is 4 out of 4 shooting in the second half. And he's got to stay hot to keep in shouting distance for this great Pinckneyville team. Brian Hill's open for 2.
Another out of bounds play, and they scored on it. Cut it to 10.
29 for Hill. 10-point game. Sounds like a final score in a high school game. We're still plenty of time to go in the third. Grasowitz.
It was fouled.
And a rebound by Jimmy Bowersack.
I think Grasowitz was fouled on that last shot.
Foul is on Amaya. And Pinckneyville has the ball out. Inside layup. blocked out of the way. Hagel's going to get it. Goaltending. Give the goal to Shea Hagel.
There's another replay of it. Up. All right.
Amaya charged with goaltending. Johnson fakes and moves. Amaya battles it. The ball almost went up inside, and it comes down and in now as the big center, Amaya, got it.
They're dominating the defensive boards right now.
10-point Pinckneyville lead at the 2-minute mark. Grasowitz drilled it. Grasowitz up to 29. What a shootout between Hill and Grasowitz. Hill comes back. Tried a three and the rebound.
Good
Jimmy
rebound.
Bowersack.
Good rebound, Bowersack. Had him screened out on that weak side. Then he went to the basket after that ball.
Yet another 6'4" Pinckneyville player. The All-Staters guard each other. Hagel.
Good follow through, but he didn't get it. Pinckneyville up with it. Harris.
Harris grabbed the garbage in the lane and couldn't get it down, but a foul on Melvin Johnson. There you see the Bronco bench. And here's Danny Harris. He's had quite a tournament. He had 10 in the Super Sectional, 16 against Watsika. Into the game for the Broncos is 24, Bob Kane.
A little quickness coming in there.
And Melvin Johnson gets the rest. Last time Kane came in on a situation like this, he quickly stole the ball.
Right before the half, they cut it down to 7, you remember?
Harris's shot is in. Henry comes out to play the point. Kane goes to the wing right. Henry lets fly.
Hey, come on. Look
Harris
there,
looks
look
the
out.
other way for Hagel. He
That's
missed.
it, but a rebound. Look at that. Holy tomato. Holy cow.
Jimmy Bowersack got it down for Pinckneyville at the 1-minute mark. It's 73 to 57.
Bowersack says, I can rebound and score too.
Johnson at the foul line for a pot. And Pinckneyville in a game of spurts. It's the Panthers' turn.
If they get this score, it's going to be awful tough. If they get this one, they're going for one.
The clock is there. We're at the end of the third quarter, and Pinckneyville has 73 points. Hagel.
Oh, there it is.
Open man, Bowersack missed it.
Did not quite use the backboard the way he should have.
Now the Broncos come back. To be a big turnaround. Will they shoot a three? Hill comes to the high post toward the ball.
They're going to try to go for three, I think.
Amaya tipped
Good
away.
defensive play.
The Panthers come with Grasowitz.
Oh,
with
nice
5.
work, nice work.
No. Rebound out of bounds. There's no time on the clock, as you see. No horn yet, so we'll get the throw in at least. Less than 1 second. Here's the ball. Hill lets it fly, and that's the end of the third period. Pinckneyville holding off Walther Lutheran in this great semifinal game. We'll be back with the fourth quarter, but now let's pause for these messages. Frank Bassoni and Art Kimball, along with Coach Ed Butchovich, back at the Assembly Hall in Champaign-Urbana. Earlier today, Pana advanced by beating St. Elmo 61 to 51. They're in the championship game tonight. Now Pinckneyville needs to hold on for 8 more minutes, or Walther Lutheran will rally. Who will it be?
I know, you just seen an example of the new rule again. If the players and the team doesn't get out there in time to start the quarter, the referee will just lay the ball on the floor and start to play. And that happened right there. There could have been a violation.
Keith Peterson has really worked the officials in this ball game. He just got a little touch foul on Bowersack on the inside. But the scoring totals are interesting. Grasowitz has 29 for Pinckneyville. Brian Hill with 31 for Walther Lutheran.
Hill missed the outsider.
Look at
And rebounding the Jays, Danny Harris.
Going down on the floor, he located a player. Big rebound.
Now Hagel. As a They set 4 along the baseline and pop 2 out. Grasowitz shake 3.
But he got it back, didn't he?
He still got it. He's open 2 and nailed it. 31.
31-31 in the duel of all staters.
Wow. Inside it goes. Hill turns. Hagel picks off the board.
He's played a great ball game, Mr. Hagel.
Yes, he has.
He gets a blue-collar award from this one, fellas.
A lot of weapons.
Another one.
Inside rolling down.
Ball spun and held up there.
Gets the lunch bucket as well, Ed.
Hagel again, and Hill tries to come back. It's short. Pinckneyville in control by 20.
I wonder what kind of lunch meat he likes. I don't know. If I was Dick Gordon, I believe I'd buy it the whole year for him.
The Pinckneyville Panthers recapturing that glory time. Inside Grasowitz again. Good again.
Would Dexter Thomas be proud of this ball club?
Grasowitz 33, Hill 31.
Timeout on the court, 6:21, and Pinckneyville is sparkling. We'll come back. Now let's take timeout for this on the IHSA network. Okay. All right, back at the Assembly Hall, 6 minutes and 21 seconds to play. And we're checking because Barry Grasowitz's total at the official scorers table is 31, and we have him for 33, and we'll check that for you. We do know that Pinckneyville has really, really sparkled.
I don't think Mr. Grasowitz cares whether he has 31 or 32. I want to tell you, at 2:45 at the third quarter, Pinckneyville was up 65-53. Now they're up 79-57. Something like 14-4 run.
They said earlier in the year that they wanted to come back to the big house, and they're here at the Assembly Hall in front of a huge crowd. And there's the example you were talking
the
about.
play I just said.
This could be a violation against the
I think
Broncos.
they're going to get it in.
They did.
It's happened 2 or 3 times here in this game. 2-3 by Pinckneyville.
Henry shoots over it. It's short. Amaya, nice rebound and score. Whistle immediately after the shot. Goal obviously counts. Let's see what this is all about. Foul is on Danny Harris of Pinckneyville. And this could be a big
Yeah, there's going to be a boost for him. A chance for a 3-pointer. 3 on Harris.
Amaya's now run his total to 15 with a great second half.
He missed it.
No follow through.
And now let's see what Pinckneyville does. 6 minutes to play in the game. 31 is the right number for Grasowitz. Oh, Hill with a great steal. And a dunk. Brian Hill, a stinger. But Pinckneyville with an 18-point lead. Baseline Eflin. He goes around his man all the way in, and Amaya rebounded it.
Beautiful move, but he didn't make it.
Henry goes to the basket. Bauer sacks rebound.
Didn't have much control that time.
And then in blue, shooting for the championship game. Free is Grasowitz.
You see that finger roll move?
He can flat out play, as
Yes,
they say.
he can.
No doubt about it.
Doesn't seem to be a chink in the armor there. He's got a game in all phases. Amaya pounding the board.
Almost looked like a play.
Hey, Amaya grows up, he's going to be some player, and he's only a junior.
16 years old.
Does he kind of look like Elijah Wan? Or short facial?
A short version.
Yeah.
Henry's only a junior. And that means Keith Peterson will have a fine team again next year, no matter what he wears.
What great entertainment this session has been. First game, 2 teams played so hard. And this game, you're just seeing tremendous performances on both sides. Forget the scores. It's been a great show.
Right now, Walther Lutheran is not in the bonus. Pinckneyville is. Could be another thing right here, too. I don't know how many more fouls Pinckneyville can give away, but ball looked like it was going to be long.
Barry Grashowitz.
Barry shook his head in disgust right there just a little bit. I think he thought it was going to be long.
Hey, hit the rim.
Taking that deep breath right now.
Not used to put anything on the iron, is he?
If they maintain this lead and keep it, you can bet your bottom dollar Grashowitz is going to get a lot of rest this afternoon.
He just goes out with 35.
35 is the official count. That's not bad.
He may or may not come back in, depending on what happens there in the next minute or so.
Henry looks in at Amaya, comes out to Hill. Brian Hill lets it fly. Can't hit. Amaya can rebound. 4:25 in the game. 18-point Panther lead, 9 in a row. Amaya for the Broncos. Harris is stolen by Hill. Look at Hill. Up ahead to the running Joe Johnson, an easy one. 16 is the lead. 4 minutes on the clock. And Dick Horn's going to stop the action. We're going to come back with the final 4 minutes. One of your network sponsors is Case IH. The complete player, Brian Hill, this time on the jam.
Heard the footsteps coming, but didn't bother him.
And now on the defense.
Now the steal.
3:54 to go. And you see a foul on the Broncos. Walther Lutheran in the white. Number 30 is Carl Henry with the foul. His third. Pinckneyville leading 83 to 67.
I think the last 3 minutes of this ball game or 4, you're going to see a lot of free throws being shot by Pinckneyville.
Linder with 11. Up to 12.
He's got a good ball game.
A lot of Panther Town here at the Assembly Hall.
They've all had good ball games.
A pair for Blake Linder. Pinckneyville trying to play Pena in an all-Panther final.
They have to look at it up in the book. Might be a history.
Hill got that one down.
35 for Hill. He and Grashowitz would equal one another.
Uh-oh, look out. Almost a steal by the Broncos. Shea Hagel controls. Hagel's really a good complete ball player, too.
I'll look for him to bring it out just a little bit.
Oh. Bauer sacks with the pass and a foul on the Broncos.
Almost intercepted him.
Randy Riley picked it up, 5'10" senior. Eplin with 8. Goes to the line. How many points will Pinckneyville get? Brian Hill comes up. He tries a 3. Maybe a little tired now. Foul's going to be on Melvin Johnson. First appearance for Lutheran in the Sweet 16, and they've had a great run, 30-3. Keith Peterson talked about what a pleasure this year has been. They lost to Wheaton Christian by 2, Rockford Boylan Big, and Maine West by 1. Pinckneyville, 13 of 16 as a team at the line, and Bauer Sachs make that one. Another outstanding reserve. A lot of teams could use this young man.
You have to have the bench to get here. You have to have the bench to win. They're here. They've got the bench.
Henry misses long. Harris collects it. Oh, Henry with nice anticipation, but over and back.
Tell you what, Harris, at least he was looking up the floor. He got that ball up about another half a foot. Got a layup at the other end.
Joe Johnson checks back in to get some fresh legs in there at the press. And the Panthers throw it in with Aaron Eplin. 3 minutes now to go. Pinckneyville in command by 18. Eflin swings to the right. And the Panthers using a little clock now, spread the floor.
I think they want to go at the free throw line.
This is really some team.
Oh,
Eflin is tripped. Amaya tripped Eflin.
It's not an injury.
That's unintentional. Sure. No. Amaya just a step late getting there. More victories are sealed at this free throw line. Teams have to be able to do
He did
this.
injure himself, though. He looks like he's limping. They can't afford another injury, I don't believe.
We don't know whether Kevin Bird, their starting center, will be able to play tonight. And you're right. Eflin does look like he's favoring his leg, and Nathan Chapman will come off the bench. Eflin limps off. And there's Chapman.
We'll get a little ice on it right now, I think.
89-69. 2:35 to go. Pinckneyville marching to the title game. Brian Hill tries from the three-point.
34, you're third out.
And Melvin Johnson gets the foul. All of a sudden, we've had a flurry of fouls.
We've had 5 fouls in just a little over a minute and 31 seconds.
Well, we started yesterday when Pana moved ahead over Beardstown, and then St. Elmo took out Forreston. Walther Lutheran beat Lena Winslow, and Pinckneyville turned away Watsika. So that's set up today when Pana won over St. Elmo, and now Pinckneyville moving ahead. That means we'll come back at 6 o'clock tonight as Harris hits them both.
And Pinckneyville has just hit 8 out of the last 9 free throws during that minute and 31 seconds.
They're up to 91 points.
They responded well.
And the Broncos will get 54. Andre Ingram, a 6'6 junior, into the game. 16 years old, coming onto the Assembly Hall court. Brian Hill fires it up. Long rebound to Chapman. Harris catches it and sends it out one-handed.
Red flag.
Pinckneyville could score 100. Open is Harris. He missed it. Long rebound.
Oh, look at Linder. Just good.
Blake Linder. 2 minutes. Under.
Harris knows he should have got that one down. He didn't. Good hustle to Pinckneyville again.
Panthers in their spread. And a foul on Brian Hill. Here for the Broncos. Brian Hill, 32. A spectacular career.
35.
What an outstanding performer.
Hill and Grasowitz combined for 70 today.
And they each play again today.
Right.
Long. Missed by Hagel. And the rebound of the Broncos. They have Vic Legner in the game, 22, and 40, Steve Belser. Belser there. And the Panthers have had it all their own way now.
Yes, they have.
A minute and a half left. And they will go to the title game tonight. St. Elmo will meet Walther Lutheran first, and Pinckneyville and Pana. Well, we know one thing, the Panthers are going to win it.
They're only going to take the good shot right now.
Say another thing, Charlie Strasburger is worried to death, I guarantee you, the Pana coach after this performance.
There's a foul outside by Riley.
But he knew he was going to have a whale of a battle regardless of the winner here.
Well, Pinckneyville has come into the Assembly Hall and just played 2 great games as Brian Hill gets a great hand from the crowd. Let's check to be sure of the number. It's 35 as the Bronco fans cheer their star. Nate Chapman.
Well, you happen to notice, Frank, when I was talking to Dick Horn before the game, the query as to whether last night's effort was typical of the way Pinckneyville's been playing, and he said yes, it definitely was. So they have put together another magnificent effort here this afternoon.
You know, Mr. Chapman, he's been almost 70% free throw shooter this year.
Linder and Hagel go out as Chapman shoots another. Napier has come in.
Short there.
21, Mike Napier, a sophomore. Make sure we get everybody. Wayne Ketter's in there too. Riley for three. Walther Lutheran's got 72, but Pinckneyville's got 20 more. As Ketter can't quite catch up with it. Troy rushing, 45 does. And another foul on Riley.
Is Troy in relation to Marion Rushing? Used to play football for the St. Louis Cardinals.
The NFL guy.
From down there, yeah.
One of the famous alumni from Pinckneyville. The most points ever scored by a Class A team in the Assembly Hall here, 92. Pinckneyville just has the record with 40 seconds. The Broncos throw up a prayer. Rebound, Belser. Legner fights for it. And we're going to have a foul on Ketter. Wayne Ketter at 6'2" and a junior. 32 seconds to go, and Pinckneyville has rung up 92. Well, they will want the tempo one way tonight in the championship game, and Pana will want it the other. But I'll tell you, the third place game will be a run and shoot affair. Behind the back, Ketter, nice move. Coast to coast to McGranahan. Chris McGranahan hit it. Number 4.
Let's give Ketter an assist on that.
94 as Randy Milton lets it go. Pinckneyville, the ball, Aaron Kellerman. 10 seconds. Steal.
Oh, nice pass behind the back.
Wasn't it? Legner missed, but Ingram didn't. Yes, he came out. White. 1, and that's the ball game. Pinckneyville advances. And as they say in the South, the Empire strikes back. It's a final of 94-74 as Keith Peterson and Dick Horn shake hands in quite a semifinal. Stay with us, and we'll be back in just a minute.
Back to Assembly Hall. Don't forget we have the third place game and the championship game coming up. One of the men who will be coaching on the sidelines in that championship game, of course, Mr. Dick Horn, who was the coach of Pinckneyville. Have you ever seen, I know you are associated with this team, but have you ever seen a team move the ball and then shoot the ball as well? You see these guys all year long, but today was exceptional.
Well, we've had times when we've done that, of course, and then we've had times when we haven't. But this team, when they're playing at their top of their game, while the best parts of their game are passing and shooting it, and of course you saw that today.
You knew Walther Lutheran would run and try to run with you, so did you just come out and say, hey, let the horses go?
Well, yeah, you're exactly right. We think we play much better at this pace, this style of play, and so we're not going to back away from anything. We'd like to make sure we pick the right spots and when to shoot the ball off the break, but we play better in an up-tempo game, and so we're not going to hold back.
One final question. Pana, give me a line on them. You've seen them play. What are you going to have to do tonight?
Well, we're going to have to guard their outside game very well, and it's no different than any other ball game. You've got to play good defense. You got to rebound. You got to shoot the basketball, and that's what we'll have to do tonight.
Coach, see you in a couple hours.
Thank you very much.
That is Dick Horn, his Pinckneyville club, rated #1 in the state most of the year, and they'll try to nail that down tonight. And with me right now is Barry Grasowitz. Of course, you've seen him gunning all day, and also Danny Harris wearing number 33. First of all, Kevin Bird went down yesterday with a hamstring pull. Did you guys rally around that?
Well, we've teams faced a lot of adversity this year with injuries and sickness and stuff, and unfortunately we got a good bench, to rely on to fill a spot, if somebody does get injured. So I think it a mental thing as far as anything. You know, we wanted to pull together and get to the championship game for Kevin, you know, and maybe tonight he'll be able to come out and, you know, at least dress.
You guys never seem to force a bad shot. Occasionally want to go up, but you seem to just dump it off to somebody else for the square-up shot. Is that the way the coach teaches it?
Yeah, we just go to the boards and get the ball on the rebound.
You guys don't seem all that excited. You know, you're on the verge of a state championship here. You're trying to keep yourselves down?
Well, it's just we've looked for this so long, you know, and I think we don't realize what's going on yet. I guess maybe in a week or so, if we would happen to win the championship, maybe then we'll realize it, you know, really, you know, get excited. But right now, you know, I don't think it's set in, you know, what we're about to go for.
The people that I talk to who have watched Pinckneyville most of the year say that you guys always make an incredible run, maybe 10, 15 points in 2 minutes, zam, and that puts the lock on. Is that the key to your success?
Yeah, we've got a lot of good spurts, and we just go to the boards and get the fast breaker going. That's what we really do good, is fast break.
What about your rebounding prowess? You guys don't look that big. When you come on the floor, you don't have all that muscle in there. What's the key to rebounding? Obviously, positioning. Is that where it all starts?
Well, I think it's a big thing. You know, we don't look strong, but I guarantee you we're as strong as most teams. We worked real hard this summer in the weight room, but I think it's positioning and just determination, you know. Naturally, we'll have the inside position on the defensive board, so we'll just try to get a good solid check out and, you know, just go for the ball. Try not to get too far into the basket.
You've lost 2 games this year, one to Sparta, the other by a point. After the loss, was there anything that you guys redid, reevaluated? Did it make you feel human and not unbeatable at that point?
No, we didn't want to really lose the game. We didn't have too good a shooting nights in 2 nights, and after the game, we didn't want to lose. We just didn't shoot very good them nights and want to play intensely the rest of the night.
Now, I know if I were your age, and I was once, believe me, if I came out to the Assembly Hall, it would kind of be awesome at first. How long does it take you to get over that feeling, or does it even enter your guys' head?
Well, it's you know, naturally exciting to walk out on the floor, you know, the bright lights and everything, but we've played in big gymnasiums all year long, you know. Down in Southern Illinois, everybody's got a real nice facility, and we just, it's a pleasure to play in here, you know, and we played in the SIU arena quite a bit also, so we're used to big gyms and large crowds.
And we just saw some of the highlights. You guys, you don't seem to get too excited, even when you hit the basket. I mean, it's just business, huh? Business until it's all over with.
Well, you know, we pointed to this March, you know, whatever, 11th or 12th for ever since November 10th. So I don't know. Just like I said before, I don't think we realize what's going on yet. But I think tonight, you know, if we would happen to win it, maybe it'll settle in. And we'll get real excited.
We'll see if you guys can hang on to that #1 ranking. Congratulations on the game today. See you tonight. That's 2 of the reasons why Pinckneyville is in the state championship game. Let's go to Frank Bissoni.
Thank you very much, Jim. And Barry Grasowitz, 35 points, and Harris with 15. The two of the big reasons Pinckneyville is in that title game. And our
5 in double figures for Pinckneyville today, Frank.
One of the things we've talked about all tournament long for Pinckneyville is their balance, and it showed again with Hagel coming up with 12, and there's Eplin with 10. You have just 5 guys in double figures, and they have a great all-stater. They're well coached, and I don't know if anybody can beat them.
Well, I don't know if anybody can beat him or not either, but I'll tell you what, Payne's going to show up tonight.
You better believe it. Payne is in that title game, and it's all Panthers. In the 3rd place game at 6, St. Elmo will take on Walther Lutheran, and that'll be a hot run-and-gun contest, and then that'll be followed by the championship as Pena goes against Pinckneyville. Final score once again, Pinckneyville 94 and Walther Lutheran 72. We'll see you at 6 o'clock tonight.
At approximately 8:15 on this Saturday evening at the Assembly Hall, Pinckneyville will try to go 33-2 and try to prove that they are indeed #1. I don't know if you gentlemen believe in ratings or not, but let me start with Phil Weiner. You have seen Pinckneyville play. Are they indeed #1? And they're going to have to prove it, but they seem to be at this point.
Right, I agree. They've been #1 most of the season, and when you come down to the state tournament and you beat the #2 team in the state by, 19 points, at Assembly Hall, you have to earn a lot of respect. A lot of people say, well, They played some weak teams maybe during the season, and they won by more games, but we're talking, or more points, but we're talking 19 points in the state quarterfinals. You know, I don't think there's any doubt. They just have to, they have a few injuries right now they've got to overcome before the game, but I don't think there's any doubt that they're the best team in the state.
Since the tournament started, nobody's finished closer than 10 points to this ball club, and that would be Carmi in the super sectional. Let me ask you, Ed Glennon from the Decatur Herald, what is it that makes Pinckneyville so good? We were talking before we went on the air. Talk about 5, 6, 7 3-point shooters. How many can you have?
Well, maybe 12. Lou Henson'd like to have 12.
Yeah, he certainly would. But it's just not the three-point shooting, is it? It's the way they move the basketball to get those face-up three-pointers.
Yeah, they really pass the ball. I'm really impressed with the way they pass the ball. They seem to be able to play any tempo they want. They go down to the SIU, play Carmi in a super sectional, 53-43. They can play slower. Then they come out in the state tournament. They play up pace. They play the kind of game that Watsika wants to play, which tends to be a shootout. They do that very well.
You touched on the magic word for this evening's game, and that would be tempo. Now, if you're Coach Charles Strasburger, I don't think you want to turn this into Arlington or a horse race or anything. I mean, you've got to come out here and set the tone. If you don't, you may be in trouble.
Well, I think tempo has been the key to Pena's entire season. For example, they led the Decatur area at defensive average of about 45 points a game. Also, they come into the sectional, play against Springfield Calvary, a very upbeat, up-tempo team, hold them to 46 points in the sectional title game. They turn around, play Tuscola in the super. Tuscola coming in averaging about 85 points a game, hold them to 24 at halftime. Come in today against St. Elmo, another team that's averaging maybe 75, likes to run like crazy, hold them to 51. Pena plays very good defense. Charlie Strasburger says the key to their tempo is the fact their zone defense, their 1-3-1 zone.
And one of the things that's going to be really hard to set the tempo, even if they can get it done, is the fact that Pinckneyville likes to pressure you. They have good defense. They're not going to let you sit on the ball for any great length of time, are they?
No, Pinckneyville, they want to get in a game where they shoot, 40 times and a half, because they'll trade baskets with you all night, because they know that the more attempts that they get on the hoop, the more they're going to make. And you let them shoot 40 times and a half like they had the first two games here. They've shot 39 and 40 attempts, and they're hitting over 50%. And the more shots, the more attempts they get, they're just going to do it. And their pressure in the press will control that. They can turn it up, and they can get a lot of transition baskets on it, or they can slow it down to maybe calm them down a little bit if they have one of those runs where they putting up a lot of shots and they're not missing it. They'll use it as kind of a containment to slow it down and let them get back on their feet, too.
And this is not to belittle Pena at all, but we are talking major upset if Pinckneyville doesn't win tonight. How do we spell major, with like 5 capital letters or just 1 if that happens?
Charlie Strasburger's too good a coach to make it a major upset,
really?
I think so, yeah.
Well, we're going to take a look at a couple of the Pena players first of all, but before we get to the tape, I want to ask you, gentlemen, we've been down here now. We've seen 6 games in 2 days, 1.5 days actually. Now one of them, with the exception of St. Elmo's win over Forreston, it was kind of tight in the fourth quarter.
Right.
Not one of them really close. Does that surprise you at all? It seems to happen a lot down here.
I think when Class A you come down, and overall, I don't want to downgrade or anything, but in general, in Class A, you seem to come in and you have one player that is carrying your team. And if that player is up or down, on or off, in or out, you're going to ride with them. And I think a lot of times is you're having one player here that is the heart and soul and the mainstay, and they're going as they go. And if that player doesn't have a good game and the other team rolls, is what you're finding. I think Pinckneyville has avoided that because they have 7, 8 kids, 6'2", 6'4", interchangeable. There is no real heart and soul of that team. They are, they are as one, and that's why they've been able to roll along, I think. But the big wins haven't really surprised me.
Speaking of one of those key performers, we'll come back and take a look at Kevin Maxey, but first, let's take this time out from Dual. All right.
A reminder to America, it's not just men who farm our land, but also more than 1 million farm women who work as their partners to make America's food system one of the most productive on earth. That's something we shouldn't take for granted. This message brought to you on behalf of the American farmer by the makers of Dual herbicide.
Okay. Welcome back to Before the Tip-Off. I'm Jim Albrecht. Joining me on my immediate right, Phil Weiner from the Southern Illinoisan in Carbondale, and to my far right, Ed Glennon from the Decatur Herald. Now let's go to the videotape, some of the action here in the quarterfinal and semifinal rounds of the Illinois Class A championship. Kevin Maxey is the little man for St. Elmo, but he does some pretty big things, Ed.
Well, Kevin Maxey's a ball player. He's about 5'8", moves very well, as you can see. Drives his coach nuts because he'll oftentimes turn down what looks like a sure shot to get the ball inside. The scouting report on Kevin is that he'll rarely back the ball out. He'll either try to shoot or he'll try to get the ball inside.
Now, this three-pointer is kind of rare today because he didn't have a good day shooting from the outside against Pena, and that really hurt St. Elmo's. Here, you'll see the little man inside down low on the rebound.
Right. Kevin's always around the ball. One thing about him is he really has an instinct for the ball. Millikan University is interested in recruiting him, and they really like him for his passing ability, his ball handling. Only thing is maybe sometimes they question his judgment, and also his shooting has been sporadic. He's really not that accurate a shooter unless maybe shooting from half court.
Let's take a look at a couple of Charles Strasburger's players. Tom Funneman is number 30. You'll see him on the move. He's tall, and he can drive on occasion, too.
Yeah, you have to like that about Fenneman is that he can shoot outside, he can take it inside, you know, like we're going to see on this move right now. And he's kind of like, you know, you don't want to compare it. You know, he doesn't have the skills of a Magic Johnson, but he's that type of ball player you're seeing now in high school. A 6'4" kid that is developing his skills, that's maybe playing as a freshman or sophomore, forced to get in there working on their skills that summer. And he's a complete package at 6'4", and I'd say 10 years ago it was a rarity, but not anymore.
And one of Funneman's teammates is Gary Tidwell. He wears number 12. And again, we're talking about a team concept here when we talk about Pena. Similar in that respect to Pinckneyville.
Gary Tidwell is the son of the Pena coach, Charlie Strasburger. Real dedicated to basketball. He bought Steve Alford's video. He sets up chairs, puts broomsticks up, watching the ball, he runs through the whole layout, and then he'll shoot free throws to simulate a game situation. He also, one day his dad was wanting to go home from practice. He said, "Stay, Dad, until I'm finished shooting free throws." He makes 67 in a row.
I never even got fouled 67 times in my whole life. Well, we're going to come back and talk about the three-point shot. Who likes it and who, if anybody, doesn't like it anymore. We'll be back in just a minute. Back for the final 2 minutes before the tip-off, and let's go right to the videotape and take a look at one of Pinckneyville's three-point shooters and talk about the three-point shot. A couple of years ago, Phil, all the coaches were going, no, it'll change the game. Now everybody's going, oh, yeah, I think I like it.
Right, we had a poll down in Southern Illinois, and about 2 years ago, almost all the coaches were dead set against it. And now this year, we re-polled them, and they're almost all in favor except for like 5 or 6. It seems to be there's a rash of shooters in Southern Illinois, and the coaches haven't been afraid to exploit it. It's a rule. They know they have to use it. The rule is not going to change, and so they've just been exploiting it. And Barry Graskowitz is the kind of kid that will shoot the three-pointer and he'll win games for you. And as you saw in that drive,